Yeah. Yeah. Hello,
Okay.
everyone. I am absolutely delighted to have a beautiful conversation with my dear friend Jennifer Spor, who is a number of things, actually. She's a Akashic Records expert or guru, and she's also a channeler, and of course, a fellow author in the Sacred Redesign Bestselling International book. That was just so amazing, that whole experience. But Jennifer, that's not what we're talking about today. We're talking about you today and about your beautiful program that you are going to do one of these days. But first, let's just take a step back and see what inspired you to do what you're doing.
Yeah, that's a great question. Um, where should I start with that? Well, before my life as an entrepreneur, which this is where I've been in my business for the last few years, I had a well-established career in the retail industry. I was a corporate executive toward the end of my career, and I just reached a point where I had checked all the boxes off the list of what traditional society teaches us that it means to achieve success, right? And I just started to feel unfulfilled. I was in love with my job for a long time, but just stopped feeling challenged. And for me, learning is one of my greatest strengths and just one of my favorite things to do. And so I started to feel unfulfilled, but like so many other people, and I mean, especially, I'm probably dating myself, but like people in my generation were, brought up to believe that if you stay at the same job for 30 years or 40 years, that, that's a good thing, right? And that
Yeah.
you should stick with that and essentially don't fix what isn't broken, kind of thing. And so I was facing a lot of fear around, why I was feeling the way that I was feeling, and I had planned to retire in that career that I was in. So I didn't take action right away. It actually, another year and a half or maybe even almost 2 years, I was still feeling unfulfilled, but not doing anything about it because I was so busy every day, and distracted all the time too, that I also wasn't creating space to allow myself to process all of that. But then my mom, this was several years ago, but my mom was diagnosed with terminal cancer. And that was really, her illness was the catalyst for me taking action to make that change, because I was, flying back and forth across the country at the time to be with her and try to support my family. And there was a moment, a very particular moment, where I was at her bedside just days before she transitioned. And there was a moment where my phone was blowing up, from work. And it was something that in the realm of things could have been prevented. And so I was faced in that particular moment with, do I direct my energy here, or should I ignore that and be present with my mom, who was dying at the time? And that was the wake-up call for me, because it was like, you know what, I should never have to make a decision like that. And I am empowered to create my own life the way I want it. And so that was the beginning of the end. I didn't go home and quit my job the next day. It was a process of transition. And it was through that time of awakening and rediscovering, really remembering who I really was, because I also didn't realize I didn't really know myself that well, because I was so busy and distracted and people pleasing and doing things for everybody else, but nothing really for me. And it was through that journey of rediscovery that I came to the realization of what my calling was. So I was, at the time, had invested in spiritual teachers, therapists, had readings done, healings done, talked to business coaches and all of the stuff. But there wasn't anyone at that time that I could find that could support me in bringing it all together. And actually taking who I was becoming and supporting me in anchoring that into my physical reality, in embodying that. And that was what inspired me to do this work, was
Wow.
to be that for others. And so
The whole embodiment.
yes, because what happens, right? It's like we spend so much time in the upper chakras and in our head space, you know. And something I say often is that the mind is a faithful servant, and it serves a purpose, but it's not the star of the show, it's the co-star, you know. Our heart's guidance, which is the intersection of the spiritual and physical, that is what we need to allow to lead us, because we're a soul having a human experience, which I know a lot of people, especially probably people that are watching this, have heard that. And you might know that, but how well do you embody it? Because our bodies are truly the channel, the bridge between heaven and earth. That's how we bring forward the soul gifts that we're meant to share with the world. And so that's what I do essentially. And that's what inspired me to get into this work, was to show up as that for others. And I've always worked with others in supporting them to align with their highest path, but especially in the last couple of years, and with everything that's swirling around in the world, you know, I won't get into that, but at this moment, but a lot of people are feeling a sense of urgency that they can't necessarily name around feeling drawn to show up in a bigger way. And so that's what I also do, is I hold space for others as a channel and a wisdom keeper, as a guide, to help them bring forward the culmination of the ancient wisdom and soul gifts that they have, that they're actually here to share with the world at this time that we're living in.
Oh, that sounds absolutely fascinating. And how does Akashic Records now play into this?
Yeah, so I've always had spiritual gifts. I've always had a gift for channeling, and I've always been sensitive in that way. However, I started working in the Akashic Records probably about, well, it's been almost 2 years, because I started on my own and then also received some formal training. So for those who may not be as familiar with the Akashic Records, it's essentially your soul's book. It's the storehouse of information for all of your soul's experiences, past, present, and future, and all of your incarnations, because our soul is eternal. So what I love about working with clients in the Akashic Records is that there is no subjectivity in the information that I'm channeling from the records. It's coming directly from your specific soul book, essentially. So to kind of put that into perspective, if you were to receive, you know, a psychic reading or a reading from someone else who isn't working in the records, there's subjectivity there, because they are, you know, tapping into your consciousness. And there's more, it's open more for interpretation. The person who's reading for you, their interpretation of what they're receiving, right? So the Akashic Records just basically takes out any of that potential subjectivity, and it's much more direct in terms of the information.
Wow, that sounds really great. I think I must have a reading.
Yeah, no, you're more than welcome to. And I love the work so much. I mean, that's the thing too, is that, you know, beyond receiving information from the records, you can heal in the records as well. You know, contrary to what is widely shared in the personal development industry, healing and transformation, expansion doesn't have to be this long, hard, drawn out process. There are certainly times in our lives that we do experience challenges and letting things go. But what it always comes down to is your willingness to shift, right? And if
Mm.
you're all in on shifting, we can clear that energetically in one session. It can
Yeah.
happen that fast.
Wow. And then is there what happens after that, Jennifer? Is that an ongoing awareness that develops inside one, or is it a follow-up plan? What happens after
Yeah,
a
it
reading
really
like that?
depends on the person. I do work with people. I do have one-off sessions with people where they're able to receive what they need from that session. But I do also work with a lot of clients longer term, where, because there's the initial making a shift, right?
Mm.
And then sometimes it's beneficial to receive or align for someone to receive ongoing support to move through, I call them nigglies, right? To move
Mm.
through some of the nigglies that might come up along the way. I know that you know this too. When we shift, there's the realization, right? The
Yes.
awakening or the epiphany. But then, as I was mentioning before, in the work that I do with others, there's the whole integration of it. There's the
Integration.
embodiment of it, and there can be a lot of moving parts for some people. So managing changes in relationship
Mm.
dynamics and leaving jobs, starting businesses, changing what you're doing in your business. And so that's where I serve my clients well in continuing to hold space for that support. When I talk about, I really work with people in an all-encompassing way. So I provide not just, channeled information and support, but energetic healing and also
Mm.
strategic support. So, this is the embodiment piece, right? Before
Mm.
I started my business, I was an operations executive and I specialized in process improvement. So my skill set in
Wow.
working with people to organize their visions and to manifest them, uh, it it just serves them so well.
Oh, wow. What a beautiful skill set, bringing that all together. Isn't it amazing that nothing ever that we learn in life, shifting from careers to careers, nothing is ever a waste. It always comes
Exactly.
to help us in whatever we're doing in
Exactly.
the
Nothing's
next
in
phase.
vain, right? And that's another mindset, right? Is just that, like what I was sharing about my life many years ago, where I had the fear of change. It's because I felt like I was losing, but I
Mm.
wasn't losing anything. I was just ready to step forward into a new chapter. And that's the thing, is that we're taught to fear change, but that's an inversion. It's the opposite. We are wired for expansion. Our
Change.
souls crave that change and that expansion and that growth. Imagine if the whole world reframed the fear of change
Wow. Yeah. Yeah.
into
Yeah.
the
We are.
excitement of expansion.
Yes, yes, because that's the way to see it.
Yeah,
It's expansion. It's getting something better. It's getting something bigger. It's becoming more of who you really are, and that is absolutely exciting in every aspect. So Jennifer, tell us about your program. What
yeah.
is
So
that
right now,
about?
I'm so excited.
Mhm.
I've created a very special private mentoring program. It's a 9-month program. It's called Embodied Heart. And it really entails a lot of what we've talked about today thus far around, being called to show up in a bigger way in your purpose and mission, and bringing forward the culmination of all of your ancient wisdom and soul gifts. And so this program is for visionary leaders and way showers. So people who are already leading the way in whatever work it is that they're doing, but they're feeling called to show up in a bigger way. That's the work that we're doing, is getting clarity around that call. And just, I'm working with people to bring forward all of those soul gifts and ancient wisdom that they're being called to share at this time, and embodying those awarenesses.
Wow. So, what is sort of the process that you're going to take people through?
Yeah, because it's a private mentoring program, that process is customized, to whatever the person's specific, where they're at in their growth journey. But it involves channeled support, mindset, strategic, and energetic support. But generally speaking, when I work with people, we go straight to the root of whatever it is that is causing them to feel potentially blocked, or like the information they're receiving is diluted. So I really start off with working with people around identifying. I have a gift for being able to tune into someone's energetic field and know where those distortions are. So we start off by me tuning into those distortions, us clearing them, and working on intuitive development, because really the center of everything in how you're able to show up in the world is how confident are you in your inner guidance and your willingness to take decisive action on it and follow it. So intuitive development and forging a deeper connection with your spiritual intuitive gifts, that's what we focus on first. And then things become naturally clearer for the client. And then we work more on the integration and managing, the changes that come along with that.
Wow. And that you say that's a 9-month, and but I gather now it's not a group program, it's a one-on-one.
It's a private program. Yes. Yes.
Wow. That sounds absolutely amazing. And what results can people expect, Jennifer?
Yeah, you must have sensed my energy. I was just thinking of sharing the same thing. This is part of what makes working with me unique, is because of this all-encompassing approach that I take, a multidimensional approach that I take, because we as humans, we're multidimensional beings, right? There are so many coaches or healers or people out there who can promise you, clarity of purpose. Do you want to make more money? And do you want to improve your relationships? But this work in this space brings you all of that, because what I'm teaching you is how to truly live and embody living from the inside out. And when you do that, then more money, healthier relationships, clarity of your purpose, confidence to show up in the highest visible way in the world. All of those results are what you receive from working in this space. I mean, I'm not a money coach. I'm not, I say that, but I've had clients who have been, I had a client who was up 400% in her business last year, someone who had their first 5-figure day. I mean, someone who found their divine life partner, someone who found clarity in their calling and answered it, someone who's left their job and started a business, right? I've held space for my clients to receive those results. And I say holding space because they're the ones that are getting the results. I'm guiding them in that direction. And having the ability to provide channeled information
Yes,
too, because it provides a major shortcut, right? It's expediting your
absolutely.
path.
Yes, I mean, that must be amazing, you know, really just keeping someone not just on the right path now, but to continuously channel messages from their soul to them.
Yes.
That is really very, very special.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah. And so what this container is really about, right? Because so many people, and this isn't a beginner's issue. This is for people who are highly advanced souls, have a tendency to chase after their expansion, to chase after their growth. Oh, I'm reacting to, what do I need right now? I want more income, or I want the relationship. I want clarity of the purpose. I want to leave my job and start a business. But what if you were already whole and you took a proactive approach to your ascension? Imagine
Wow.
the unlimited possibilities that can
Wow.
come to life for you. That's what
And I,
this container is about.
yeah, and I think that, you know, the clarity, just to see that and to feel, you know, as you say, developing your intuition to a whole new level, that is absolutely priceless.
Yes, and
To be
everybody
able
has
to,
it.
yeah. But so many of us don't even hear it.
Yes, and that's what I'm doing, is I'm helping you to bring that forward.
Wow. So when does your program start, Jennifer?
Yeah, well, it's a private mentoring program. So I'm looking to begin that this month. So I'm sure those dates will vary, you know, depending upon the person. But enrollment is open now. Enrollment is open for the next, I think it's 2 weeks from today. I'm planning on closing at the end of this month. So.
And where can people get hold of you to check this out?
Yeah, so I'm on LinkedIn and Facebook. Probably the easiest way for people to look at all the platforms I'm on is to go to my website at jenniferspor.com. That's JenniferSpor.com. And as soon as we hop off of our video, I'll include a direct link with more information on the Embodied Heart program as well, for anyone who's feeling drawn to step into that portal.
Okay, awesome. And we'll add that in the comments below the video so that everyone can see that.
Awesome.
Jennifer, thank you. This was really so amazing. I think this is a beautiful journey of 9 months, all about you, all about yourself, putting yourself first, putting your own development first, and your soul. Put your
Yes,
soul
and
first.
when you do that, everything else that you desire falls into place around that.
Thank you so much. And everyone, really look this up. I think this sounds like something that is really worth pursuing. Thank you, Jennifer.
Thank you, Dina. It was an honor.